Hi, this is Sweet June. How's everybody doing today? Just came from my assembly, getting my spiritual food. It's been beautiful. It's very refreshing. Clear my head a little bit. This is what I need. Got 2 more days to go, and I'm loving it. Well, anyway, I want to talk about. I found out that Trump just signed a welfare to work bill, and um, it's interesting because I, I didn't know that all states didn't have welfare to work. I didn't know that because as far as I can recall, back in the 90s, they did a welfare to work thing. Back in the 90s, the mid 90s, they were supposed to have done a welfare to work reform type situation. Apparently, this it kind of fell off over the years. Some states started to slack up. When the Great Recession happened in 2008, states kind of put a freeze on it a bit because people were losing their jobs and things in that of the sort. And so the states kind of put a freeze on it, expanded the food stamp program, and opened the doors for a lot of people to get help because a lot of people were losing their jobs. Well, Michigan apparently didn't care anything about that because um, Michigan have what they call work first, at least in my county. I don't know about the other counties in Michigan, but at least I know in my county, they have what they call a work first. It's called a work first program. And what that essentially means is if you don't have a job, you are required to go to some type of a training class that they offer at the unemployment office. It's like a there they help you get your resume together, give you interviewing skills and things like that of that nature. Um, and you go down there and you spend the whole day, things like that of that nature. You look for work and things like that, and you are required to put in so much time looking for work. And I guess these classes they are supposed to assist you in looking for work. And you're supposed to spend so much time looking for work. Now, if you do not fulfill this requirement, you will be cut off assistance. You will not receive any assistance. That is the condition of getting the assistance. Is you have to participate in this work first thing. I mean, I never did nothing like that because I always had a job. Um, I never, didn't have to do anything. I've always worked. But apparently, this is how it works. It in order to receive any type of assistance, you have to attend these classes. You have to follow through on whatever they want you to follow through with. Look for jobs. Some people try to get around it and they say that they'll write down that they check so many places, and you're always going to get people that's going to try to beat the system. Some people try to get around it, but if you don't fulfill these requirements, you will not receive the assistance. So you have to, in order to receive the assistance, you got to fulfill these requirements, and you got to go down to these classes and all that. Now, and then if you get a job, um, then they will, depending on how much you make, or if you got kids, then they will adjust your assistance according to how much you're making. If you got kids, then 9 times out of 10 you'll still be receiving food stamps, but you won't be getting cash assistance. You know, if you get a job, then you're not going to get the cash assistance. You will get the food stamps and the Medicaid, but you won't get the cash assistance. That's how it works here in Michigan, at least in my county. That's how it's been like that since the 90s. So apparently, I didn't know that every state didn't have this. I was kind of naive, and I don't know if naive is the word to use. Maybe I was a little ignorant to the fact because I automatically assumed because Michigan had this going on that all states had this going on, but apparently all states don't have this going on. They said that some states they started it, the work first thing, but then they, like I said, the Great Recession was started in 2008, and they kind of slacked off and kind of leaned back on it a little bit, and people were still getting full assistance without working. But it's all Michigan. Michigan is a hard state. Michigan doesn't really care, and Michigan has had it going full force ever since the mid '90s. You know, they've had the program going full force ever since the mid '90s. So um, when I was reading some of the blogs, and people were saying that in the article they were saying that some states had that going on, but they kind of slacked up on it. So I thought that was really interesting because I automatically assumed that all states had this work first, welfare to work type program going on because my county has it. Now I don't know. I can't say. I don't know if anybody on here lives in Michigan. Let me know what county you live in and what your county does. I know my county has been doing this since the mid '90s. You're not going to receive any assistance if you are not following through with going to these classes, and you got to let them know that you're looking for work. You got to let them know that you're diligent and looking for a job. Otherwise, you will not receive assistance. And once you get the job, then your assistance will be, you probably get the food stamps and Medicaid, but you're not finna get no cash assistance. You're not getting no cash assistance. So cut that. You might as well just hang that up. And that's how it's always been here in my county. So I just thought that was interesting. Well, anyway, now that I got that said, um, people were saying, I was reading the blogs, and people were saying that, like this one person came on there and said they seen somebody at the store spending a food stamp, had a food stamp card, and this person had name brand on, and this person was driving a brand new car. I'm not exactly clear as to how they knew the person was driving a brand new car unless they seen him in the parking lot. But anyway, I couldn't help but to comment, and I told them no, they're not on. They must be working or doing something because you're not getting no brand new cars on welfare. I mean, I did a video. If you kind of look back in my archives, I did do a video talking about um, nobody gets rich off the welfare system. I mean, I'm just gonna kind of bring that point more closer to home because that video is kind of way back. Um, I don't know why people think people are ignorant when it comes to the welfare system. I don't know why people think that you get brand new cars and brand new clothes and things. You don't get that stuff on welfare. When a person is on welfare, now I was on way back when I had my oldest son, the late 80s, early 90s. Um, I was on the system. I got just enough to survive. I got just enough to live on. I got just enough money to pay the rent and get my personal necessities or whatever. And then they would cover your utilities if you had utilities. You got just enough to live on, and they give you food stamps and your Medicaid. You got just enough to live on. You didn't get enough to. I didn't get enough money to go out there and buy a brand new car and go buy brand new clothes, and you barely got enough to. They give you just a barely enough to survive. Just to cover your very basics, and that's all they give you. I don't know where people get off thinking that welfare, when people are on welfare, that they just get all this money, because that's simply not true. Nobody gets rich off the welfare system. Let me repeat that. Nobody gets rich off the welfare system unless you are frauding the system. The only way you're going to get rich off the welfare system is if you're frauding the welfare system. If you're defrauding the welfare system, then yeah, you get rich off of it. But that's because you're frauding the system. That's because you're beating the system. If you're beating the system, yeah, you will get rich off of it. But if you're just a regular recipient getting welfare benefits, they're going to just give you the basic minimum. They're going to just give you the basic minimum to cover your basic living expenses, and that's all you're going to get based on the amount of kids that you have, you know. And you better be on Section 8 because they might not give you enough to cover your housing costs. I don't know how that works anymore. I mean, it's been years since I was on that stuff. I know back in, like I said, late 80s, early 90s when I was on it, I got just enough to cover the basics and to cover my rent, and I got a little food stamps and I got some Medicaid for me and my son. It was just enough to cover the basics, and I got enough to go buy my soap and all that kind of stuff. And that was it. It was just enough to cover the basics. You know, I couldn't go out and buy a brand new car, or I couldn't go out and buy brand new clothes and all this stuff that people claim that you can buy on welfare, furniture and all that. No, they don't give you enough to buy all that. Now, if this person, um, people claim that they see people in the store on food stamps, and they claim that this person is buying nice, wearing nice clothes, and there is a lot of people that do work and receive food stamps, you know, and that person, you don't know that person. People actually do buy food stamps, believe it or not. People actually buy food stamps, and people, they thought by coming out with the EBT card that that was going to come to an end, but people still find ways around that. You know, you just the person just hands over the card and say, spend this X amount of dollars. You give me. What they do is, you like, say you want to sell $100 worth of stamps. That person gives you $50, and they go to the store and they buy $100 worth of groceries. You can give you the card back. You know. And they don't make you show ID. I've never had to show my ID to use my food stamp card. They don't make you show ID, so anybody can take your card to the store and slide it and get food. So people do sell food stamps. It's illegal and people shouldn't do it, but people do it. That's just one of the scams. They thought by coming out with the EBT card that that was going to come to an end, but people still do it. They still sell the food stamps. So it could be a lot of case scenarios there. They could be driving someone else's car. They could be working and still have to receive, they're still receiving food stamps, you know. Um, they could be going to the Goodwill buying their clothes. The Goodwill, I used to work at the Goodwill. Goodwill sells designer, you'd be surprised the name brand labels that come into the Goodwill. You know, I worked at the Goodwill and I couldn't believe there was stuff coming in that still had tags on it, name brand stuff. You can get name brand clothes at the Goodwill. Yes. Check it out sometimes. People get clearance items. I've went to Macy's and I've gotten designer purses and stuff for dirt cheap. When they've marked them down, when they mark them down real low, you can get them dirt cheap. People don't know that. Macy's, yes, I said Macy's. Macy's knocks down when something stays on there and they don't sell it. They just keep dropping the price, and sometimes when you take it to the register, they drop it some more. Yes, Macy's. You know, I've came out of Macy's with some good deals. Yes. One time I bought $100 sheets out of Macy's for $20. Yes. $100 sheets. They were originally $100, and I spent $20 for them. You can get a lot of stuff if you know how to shop. Some people know how to shop. I always lived on a budget. I know how to shop. I can go in a store and I can spot a bargain. I'm like an ego in the store. I can spot a bargain in no time flat. People get that stuff on clearance. They go to the Goodwill and buy the stuff. So it doesn't mean just because they have designer clothes on does not mean that they're living high off the hog off welfare, because there's other ways that you can get that stuff. I've always been low income, but I've always gotten bargains because I know how to shop. So, I mean, when you low income, you better learn how to shop. You better learn how to rub two nickels together and get more bang for your bucks because you only got so much money to work with. And I have become an expert about. I might, you know what? I might even do some videos about that one day. I might even come out with some videos talking about how to shop on a budget, on a shoestring budget, because I'm pretty much an expert at that, and I know how to do it. So I've had to do it for years. So people just automatically assume. It just amazes me how people automatically assume that just because they see somebody in the store using a food stamp card, they're oh whatever. And I don't know how they think poor people are supposed to look. They think poor people are supposed to come in the store all dirty and holes in their clothes, and it doesn't. A lot of people are on the food stamp system and they're working. But I'm here to say, and I'm here to clear up the misconception, is that nobody's getting rich off of welfare. Just stop the ignorance. Nobody's getting rich off the welfare system, I promise you. You just get the basic, you just get the bare minimum, and that's all you get. Nobody's getting rich, and if they are getting rich off of it, like I said, they're defrauding the system. But nobody gets rich off the welfare system. It's virtually impossible to get rich off the welfare system. They don't give you enough money to get rich off of it. Heck, you don't even get rich working. And if you're working for somebody else, you're never going to be rich. You can't even get rich punching a time clock, let alone on welfare. I mean, think about it. It's common sense. You can't get rich off the welfare system. And just all these stereotypes that they have about poor people is just ridiculous. You know, it's like you can't assume things about people because I've had rental cars, I've driven rental cars, I've rented cars, I've driven rental cars, and people be looking at me like, "Oh, where'd you get that new car from?" Yeah, it's going back to the rental place in a couple of days, and I'm gonna be back in my hoopty. So see, that's what I'm saying. What if I go to the store driving a rental and I got a food stamp car? They're gonna think, oh, see, look why she got that brand new car. Yeah, it's a rental. It's going back in a couple of days. People. It just amazes me how people assume things. They don't even know what they're talking about. Okay, I just wanted to clear that up, but yeah, I was really shocked about the welfare to work. I thought every state was doing that, but apparently Trump signed it into to I guess he signed a bill. I just assumed that if Michigan was doing it, everybody was doing it. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Got to clear up these misconceptions about the welfare system. I got more interesting video topics coming up. This is Sweet June.